My son stood at his mother's funeral, laughing at me in front of her colleagues. He called me a washed-up nobody, a powerless ex-husband. For years I believed that, but what he didn't know was that his mother had left me the keys to her empire, and her final words broke him in ways no fortune ever could. If you've ever tasted that sweet moment when the world underestimates you, only to see the truth flip everything upside down, then you're going to feel this one deep in your chest. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop a comment if you've ever been underestimated by your own family. Let's dive in. My name is Richard Lawson. I'm 59 years old, and for most of my life I was nothing more than a retired electrician scraping by on a modest pension here in Cincinnati, Ohio. My ex-wife, Carolyn, was the star. The ambitious, brilliant woman who built Lawson Strategic Consulting, a company worth hundreds of millions. Carolyn and I had divorced 15 years earlier. Our marriage had crumbled under the weight of her ambition and my quiet resentment. She was consumed by her empire. I wanted a simple life. We fought, we hurt each other, and in the end I walked away. But walking away didn't mean I stopped loving her, and it sure didn't mean I stopped loving our son, Ethan. The problem? Ethan didn't see it that way. To him, I was the man who abandoned the family, the father who wasn't strong enough, rich enough, successful enough. He absorbed Caroline's world view that power and status meant worth. And since I had none, I was nothing. That belief came to a boiling point on the day of Caroline's funeral. The chapel was packed. Executives, politicians, high-profile clients, and employees filled every pew. Carolyn was admired, almost worshipped, in certain circles. And me? I stood awkwardly at the back, unsure if I even belonged. When Ethan saw me, he smirked, a smirk I'll never forget. He guided me up front, not with respect, but with disdain. "Everyone," he said, projecting his voice so half the chapel could hear, "this is Richard, my dad, or should I say, Caroline's ex, the electrician who couldn't handle life at her level." Laughter rippled through his little circle of colleagues. My ears burned. My throat clenched shut. At my ex-wife's funeral, the woman I once vowed to protect, I was reduced to a punchline. I wanted to shout, to defend myself. But I didn't. I swallowed it. I told myself, "Richard, don't make a scene. Not here. Not today." But humiliation has a way of searing itself into your bones. A week later, I found myself sitting across from my son in Attorney Daniel Reeves's office. My hands shook, partly from nerves, partly from exhaustion. Ethan sat there with his expensive suit and his smug confidence. He was sure this was the moment he'd finally claim his rightful throne, his mother's empire. Daniel opened the documents and began reading. First came Ethan's share. $500,000 in cash, plus a sprawling luxury home worth nearly $900,000. Ethan grinned ear to ear, already imagining the empire he'd now rule. But then Daniel's tone shifted. He cleared his throat and said the words that nearly made me fall out of my chair. "And to Richard Lawson?" I blinked, sure I'd misheard. Caroline had left me 67% controlling interest in Lawson Strategic Consulting. That meant majority ownership, full control of the board, assets, subsidiaries, everything. A total value exceeding $34 million in direct shares. The room spun. My son's face went white, then red, then a sickly shade somewhere in between. "This is fraud," Ethan barked, slamming his fist on the table. She would never give him that. He's a failure. He abandoned us. Daniel didn't even flinch. Your mother prepared these documents under full legal supervision. She even underwent a competency evaluation. There is no fraud, Ethan. Ethan's voice cracked as he shouted again. He manipulated her. He tricked her when she was sick. Daniel shook his head firmly. Your mother was in perfect health, both mentally and physically, when these were signed. She insisted on protections precisely because she anticipated these accusations. And then Daniel pulled out one final envelope, labeled personal message. Daniel unfolded the letter and began to read aloud. My dearest Richard, if you're hearing this, it means I'm gone. I know you think you don't deserve this, but you do. You always did. I never stopped loving you. Not through the worst fights, not through the divorce, not through the years of silence. I let pride and ambition consume me, and I drove you away. That was my greatest regret. Ethan, my brilliant boy. I know you're angry right now, but you are not ready for this responsibility. You've lived your life in my shadow, and wealth without struggle breeds entitlement, not wisdom. That's why I left you comfort, but not control. And that's why I left the company to your father. Richard never cared about wealth, which is exactly why I trust him with it. He will use it to serve, not dominate. Ethan, learn from him. Learn to forgive him. By the time Daniel finished, tears blurred my vision. For 15 years I had carried the crushing guilt of failure, that I wasn't enough for her, that I wasn't enough for our family. And here she was, reaching from beyond the grave, telling me I always mattered. The silence was deafening. Ethan's face contorted. His lips trembled with rage. This isn't over, he spat. I'll contest it. Fraud, undue influence, whatever it takes. I'll bury him in court. For the first time that day, I found my voice. My heart pounded as I spoke. You could try, son, but your mother knew what she was doing. This wasn't done to you, Ethan. It was done for you. She wanted you to find your own path outside her shadow. He sneered. And what about you, huh? You think you can run a company worth hundreds of millions? You're a washed-up nobody. For a moment, I almost agreed with him. That old shame, the voice whispering you're not enough, almost pulled me under. But then Caroline's words echoed in my mind. You deserve this. You always did. So I stood tall. Maybe I don't know business like your mother did, but I know what matters, serving people, not serving myself. That's something your mother valued more than money, and that's something you'll have to learn. Ethan's jaw clenched. His eyes blazed, but behind the rage I saw it, the crack in his armor, the fear, the loss. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. And just like that, it was over. He had tried to humiliate me in front of the world. He called me worthless, powerless, irrelevant. But in the end, it was Caroline, the woman who once chose ambition over love, who gave me the most profound revenge imaginable. Not revenge through cruelty, not revenge through spite, but revenge through validation. She entrusted me with her life's work, not out of pity, but because she believed in me. I walked out of that office no longer the humiliated ex-husband, no longer the father written off as useless. I was a man trusted with an empire, and more importantly, trusted with her final truth, that I had always been enough. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the boxes showing on the screen. Thank you for watching.